And my brother and I goes, this is what we love because going to Mexico, stuff trips, fish tacos, all that.
So the black beans and white rice is Brazilian.
Brazilian. Yeah.
Not Mexican. Because I always wondered that when I first started going, as I told you with like Carlo and it was Mike Parsons to the one in Irvine, I was like, this isn't Mexican. And because of it at that time, especially, and that was in the 90s even.
Yeah. It was
weird. Different, but it was
different.
Amazing because nobody else had it.
Exactly.
And it was healthier.
Yes. Way healthier, way less calories, all the fun stuff. Yeah. Right. So we blended.
But it tasted good.
Yeah.
That's right.
The beauty. So the Brazilian culture, the Asian culture, we put it all together because again, I don't look Mexican either, right?
No.
So we pulled it off. And when I started, I had short hair like every other Asian kid. I'm like, dude, we got to find a way to kind of fit in.
Yeah.
So as time passed, I started letting my hair grow. And all of a sudden, which is funny, there's only one ethnicity of Asians that are cool in the entire world. You know what that is?
I'm educated.
You can show up as a kid. Asian kids show up to a new high school, whatever it is, near the neighborhood.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're in the Philippines, Japan, Korea, and you're a dork. As soon as you say you're from Hawaii, it's totally cool.
Yep.
Hawaiian are the only cool Asian kids in the entire world. It doesn't matter if you surf or not.
Right off the bat, at least, yeah.
Just right off the bat. And then he goes, well, if I got to do that, well, we better get better at surfing, right? Because so everybody assumed we're from Hawaii. All of a sudden they went, and when they found out they're from Brazil, that even made it better because the story then really goes. And I remember literally going into our first summer, right? I said, we're going to do this. We got to get the surfing thing behind us, right? Because we're themed, we're this and that, but we don't have it yet, right? So I went to Mike Lesher because Mike Lesher was my little brother's boss back at Surf and Sport. I says, I got this cool little ad. We're going to spend all our money we have on one ad for the first ad we bought. And it's going to be in the, the program for the OP Pro, blah, 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 the local paper. And we want to have a little thing and it's going to say, that, we're affiliated with you, kind of like a surf shop ad. So can we use the Billabong logo? And Mike says, no, you can't use our logo. You're not a surf shop.
Paul Nadi was the owner.
No. Bob Hurley was.
Billabong.
Billabong, because before he started Hurley.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is 89.
Okay. Yeah. I'm getting education today.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He didn't start Hurley until almost 2000. So when it happened, Mike Lesher says, you can use our logo, but how about you be our official restaurant? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I called the other brands, not Hurley, but Quicksilver, Vision, O'Neill.
Was it Bob McKnight at that time?
McKnight, right? Okay. But Danny Kwok was their head of marketing, right?
I remember that name. Yeah.
So I called all my friends. At the time, there were 6 companies around.
Yeah.
And I said, can I use your logo because I'm going to be Billabong's official restaurant? They're like, you can be ours too. So the very first ad, here we have the official restaurant to the surf industry. Imagine
during the OP Pro.
During the OP Pro. So all the surfers came in and all of a sudden, the one guy at the time that was the reigning world champion was Tom Curran.
Yeah.
Right? 3-time world champion. He literally, OP at the time was based in Irvine still, but he walks in with his guys and people are like, oh my God, Tom Curran is eating here. It was the other guy was Tom Carroll, was another former world champion from Quicksilver.
Yeah.
The guy from Gotcha was Martin Potter. He's at another table. Akalup was at another. And all of a sudden, they were all there and the kids were freaking out. So,
for this environment, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's as big as any celebrity you're going to get.
That's right. Right? Yeah. So I have 4 current/former world champions.
And it cost you nothing.
Cost me nothing.
That's what's awesome.
So that's awesome. And I'm like sitting there going, so I got my John Wayne.
Yeah.
And then we started, but I always say, you know what? How do I keep the momentum? Because my parents.
So how do you sustain that, right?
So at the time, there was a magazine that had just started or had been around, Beach Happy Magazine.
Okay.
It was a little,
I don't remember, little zine.
Surf Skate Snow Magazine.
Okay.
Right? So a guy named Alibaba, nickname, was the owner. He came in, goes, I really like it. I goes, hey, I'd like to get some distribution in your restaurant because everybody in the whole industry eats here.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't do ads, but I'm like, you know what I've always loved? As a kid, I've always loved promoting kids in sports.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, how about we can create a page and, basically we'll trade part, we'll co-op part of it, and then we'll feature local up and coming amateur kids.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "You're crazy. You're going to spend an entire, money on a full page, not a little one. And you're going to go, we're going to call it Hot Groms." The very first kid that was in our very first ad was a kid named Troy Ecker.
Oh,
Troy Ecker went on to start Volcom.
I remember. And Richard Woolcott.
With Richard Woolcott. Richard was one of the team managers. So Troy at the time worked, surfed for one of the Hawaiian brands. I think it was either Town and Country or Locomotion, one of those, right? And I forget the other sponsors, but he was, I think, 14 or 16 at the time. Well, Troy went on to compete in all the H2O Winter Classics, the surf and snowboard events up in the mountains. So again, Troy was our first one. And I can give you a history. I mean, some of the more famous one, Donovan Frankenreiter was another. So it became the bragging rights if you were in my ad.
That's dope.
Because in order to be featured, you had to be good. So that's how we started. We had surfers, then we had snowboarders, then we had skaters. So Tony Hawk, I mean, I had everybody, because some of the ads necessarily, even though Tony was older, we just called it something else, but we had literally everybody, So if you were 6 years old, 14 years old, I mean, one of the last ones that we ran was Mitch Colampinto from San Clemente, who was just runner-up at the
US brother in Griffin. Yeah.
So he was one of the last ones we ran.